Hi, Tom Coley, coach for Steve Taylor Community Connection, and I spent a lifetime in coaching and teaching, and it's an honor to have the gentleman to my immediate left here today because he exemplifies, I think, what's really good about those occupations. Coach Steve Wilwohl. Coach Steve, welcome.
Thank you very much.
And you've had a wonderful coaching resume. So I get this right. St. John's, I know. Anthony Wayne, I know. Siena Heights, I know. Adrian College, I know. Tecumseh. Have I missed anything?
Ottawa Hills,
Ottawa
Rossford.
Okay, Ottawa Hills and Rossford. See,
Yeah.
You've had a great experience. You've helped so many kids, high school, college. If I would ask you to be reflective, what is one of your takeaways, what you've gotten out of coaching and what it's meant to you?
Well, I think I got in coaching because of some of the negative experiences I've had in the past. But I just think being around the kids and watching them grow, and they all play to win, but it's the process to get to win that makes us keep coming back, that changes us and makes us the people we are. The discipline, all the things that go with it, that's the part I enjoy the most, there.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned the word process because you're such a smart man. You understand the game. If you win immediately when you come in a place, that's wonderful, that's great. But the blueprint normally is you come in, it's a process, you work with the kids, you develop them, and eventually you win. Sometimes, fans today, the fandom to me today has gotten to a point where, people in the stands cheering, they want an 80-0 game, and you've got to respect the game, and respecting the game is also respecting your opponent. If you have a chance to run up the score and rub it in, you don't do it. You play your other kids, give them a chance to compete. You have to have ultimate respect for your opponent, don't you, Coach?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the things that does get missed. When you're working out, you're hoping the other team is working out just as hard as you are, because when the game comes, you want them to play their best, so they make you play your best. Right. And too many times we're judged on whether we won a game or lost a game instead of, again, I always talk about the process. It's just, there's so many things involved in it. And if you lose sight of that, you lose sight of what the game's really about.
100%.
It builds character.
100%, Coach. And I think more people need to hear that. It's one of the reasons I wanted to bring you in today, because I think in all the commotion with football, people that don't play, don't coach, they miss this. They don't understand that A, it is a process, B, it is a character developer. And I can tell you, you and I have probably been involved in as many football games as coaches, I would imagine, over 30 years. And I can tell you, Coach, that the games I probably was most proud of were games we lost, but our guys were outmanned and outgunned, and we didn't have the people against what we were facing, and our kids stood up and played great. And we weren't even in that classification of that team, and they fought their hearts out and say we lost 31-28. Or I remember that kind of valiant effort as opposed to being a heavy favorite and you just run over somebody. It's if I was recruiting youngsters today, I would say, send me the game you lost by the most points. And they'd say, what are you talking about? I want the game you lost by the most points. So say they got beat 30-0. Why would you want a game we got beat by 30-0? I want to watch how you play. You're down 30-0. How are you playing? You know what I'm talking about, right, Coach?
Oh, yeah.
Are you playing, or did you quit playing, right?
That's right. And that's why I like to go watch them play basketball or watch them play baseball, because I want to see what they warm up, how they warm up. I want to see how they interact with the players, and I want to see what happens when things go bad, because that's when you really find out who is there with you. I always remember this story. I'm going to throw it out to you.
Okay.
I went to Adrian College.
Yes.
Okay, and we won the first MIAA championship in 1970. Well, in 1968, they had a coaching change, and they brought in a new guy, Bill Davis, who coached for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
All right. Well, we lost 100 kids the first year, quit the football team.
Got it.
And I'll tell you, the next year, we got a little bit better. And the next year, we're playing for the championship. And that changed my whole life. what I went through and what we had to do was
Right.
amazing.
Well, it's part of what you're talking about the process.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, another thing that people misinterpret about football, you're not always going to be the star.
Oh, no.
You know, I mean, so many of the kids come, especially from, say, a high school situation where they were a star, right? It's not as hard to be a star in high school. You know, you say you're at a small school and you're the quarterback, you're the guy, you know, okay, you throw a lot of touchdown passes and whatever, you know, and you go to college and suddenly there's 10 of you. There's 10 of those guys lined up at the quarterback position that are every bit or better than you.
Oh, it's a real shock.
Yeah, it's a real shock. I mean, I had that happen to me in college. I thought, you know, coach is telling me, hey, you're going to be the guy. I show up and you know, there were 11 quarterbacks, 11 of them.
10 other guys.
Yeah, and I said, gosh, coach, I thought I was the guy, but now there's 11 of us, you know. Are they all the guy or how does this work out? But I think it's an important lesson to learn because if you're not going to always be the star, and life isn't that way either. We all know that. You're not going to always be the star in your job. You're not going to always be the go-to person. But so let's say you're not. What do? Do you cry, pout, put your head down, quit? Or do you find a way that you can contribute? How can you be a part of this? And I think when you learn those lessons, Coach, I think it makes you a better person beyond football. I think it makes you a better person.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's what's so great about sports and athletics. If you have to compete, guys that go to college level, I mean, there's such a small percentage that make it through 4 years of college football.
Right.
I don't care where you play at. You play at Michigan. I don't care if you play at Adrian College.
Right.
It's tough.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And you're up against it. And you find out what kind of person you are.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, you know, they leave and they go for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But the ones that make it through, it's life-changing what happens to you.
It is.
And you'll never forget it.
And I tell people, and I think you believe this, I have more respect in high school, especially in high school when I was coaching high school. The kid that was the second stringer, the third stringer, didn't get his picture in the paper, didn't have articles written about him, didn't get the accolades after the game, but he was at practice every day, you know, got the bejeevers beat out of him, scrimmaging every day. Nobody patting him on the back, nobody taking his picture, nobody writing, and he was there every day. Those guys, for me, I had the utmost respect for them. The star gets theirs, you know, they get their accolades and their pictures and their articles and their trophies, but those people, like if I was starting a company, I want those people because they're going to be with you, what you're talking about, when things aren't going well. They're going to show up at work every day, right?
Absolutely. You and I have a mutual friend in Jim Lyle.
Oh, gosh, one of the best football coaches I ever...
He played at Michigan.
Yeah, great man.
He played 3 plays.
Yeah.
And he went against Mandrich every day and Reggie McKenzie and guys like that.
Incredible coach.
But you know what? When he goes back to Michigan's campus,
yeah,
they all talk about him.
Sure.
All of them.
Because they respect.
That's exactly right.
They respect what he did.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And he always said it was the best experience he ever had. And the guy was a star
in high school
at St. Ed's in Cleveland.
Yeah, and St. Ed's is no
small
bowl of potatoes.
And he goes to Michigan and plays maybe 3 minutes in 4 years, but he's got a stack of rings from Bo and the respect of everybody on his football team.
But Coach, he learned the lesson that it wasn't that he wasn't a good football player.
No.
He just got in a situation. He could have gone to a smaller school and been the big fish in a small pond and dominated, but he chose Michigan. He had a great experience, and he was able to put it in perspective that I don't have to be the star.
Exactly.
I don't have to be the... When you learn that lesson in life, I think it's the greatest... Dr. J, I interviewed Dr. J one time, and who I think is one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived. And I asked him what was his best experience in basketball, and I thought he was going to say winning championships, MVPs, dunk contest. I'm thinking of all these things. And he said, I'll tell you what my best experience was. It was my last year in the league, and he said I didn't start. He never, ever experienced not starting. This great basketball talent, grade school, high school, college, and in professional. Always the starter, always the go-to guy. He said, my last year in professional basketball, he said, I came off the bench. I wasn't a starter. He said, it was the greatest experience I ever had in my life because I got to understand what the guys on the bench, the mindset they had to keep. They didn't pout, didn't cry. I had to stay in the game. When the coach called on me, I had to deliver what they needed. I had to stay in the game. He said it's easy to be the star, but you look down on the bench. He said those are the people that make your team. You know, you need them all. You know, you need them all.
This is not just players; it's coaches too.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
This isn't my team. This is our team.
Yeah.
Where do I fit in? How do I help the football team?
Yeah, 100%.
Do I have to be in charge of something?
Yeah.
Or do I just want to help?
Well, how many assistant coaches work their derriere off and they don't get credit?
Right.
You know, a lot of times the head guy, not Jim Lyle, he was an incredible man, but a lot of times the head coach will take the credit. Now, you and I might have done the work working with quarterbacks and receivers, and the head coach never had a bit to do with it. And then the articles come in the paper, and yeah, I worked with them, and I did this, and I did that. Well, we know we did it, but you still deliver every day at practice, right?
Yeah.
Because you've learned that lesson.
Absolutely.
Coach, you've had a remarkable career helping lift young kids, high school and college, teaching them life lessons that are making them better people today. But I wanted to touch on the way out of one thing. I was so touched by something you're doing, and I know you were a little hesitant about putting this out there because you're not a pat on the back kind of guy, but you volunteer help at Hospice, and I thought I kind of talked you into it. You didn't want to, the reason I wanted to put it out there, Coach, is I thought that maybe you could talk about your experience a little bit, and it might influence others to say, gee, how could I get involved and do something? Because my experiences with Hospice, they are the angels of the world. I mean, if you've ever had anybody in Hospice, you know what these people do, and you know how they help the families, and obviously the person that's on that path to leave this world. But talk about your experience at Hospice.
Sure. I volunteer at Hospice of Wilwohl, which
Yes.
is a great organization and
Yes.
a beautiful hospice house. And what I do is that I've been there for like 13, 14 years.
Wow.
And I really enjoy it because I meet so many nice people.
Yes.
But, what I do is that do what they call direct care.
Okay.
So if a patient or his family needs help, they need to go to the grocery store or a doctor's appointment, I'll come and sit for several hours with them and keep them company and watch what's going on. I visit in the home, and I visit at the hospice facility, wherever they ask me to go to. I'm also part of a program called No One Dies Alone. So if somebody is actively in the process of leaving and nobody can get there, I make sure I'm one of the guys that they'll call and ask me to come in and sit with them.
And how crucial is that? I mean, I couldn't imagine anything more impactful than that you're helping someone. Let's face facts. I mean, we're all going to experience that somewhere down the road, and that's amazing, Coach. If somebody listening to this interview, when China puts it up and we put it out there, if they'd like to get involved with Hospice, how did you do it? How did you?
I'm driving down the road, and all of a sudden, I just felt like I needed to turn into the driveway.
No kidding.
So I went in the driveway, I pulled in, and I went in the office and said, I don't know really why I'm here, but I feel like I need the help.
You just felt something internally.
Yeah.
And what did they say? I mean, did they say?
Oh, they welcomed me. They told me, but as a volunteer, I have to test every year as well. So
Okay.
there was a process I had to go through in order to do it.
Okay.
And I elected to do that, and I do that every year.
Okay.
Hey, before we leave, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here.
Oh, my honor, Coach.
But look, nobody's done more for Northwest Ohio sports than you have.
Oh, thank you, Coach. That means a lot to me.
I think what you did with the TV put Northwest Ohio above anywhere else. My brothers come in from Pittsburgh, and they can't believe the coverage that high school sports get.
Thank you.
But I attribute that to you, not only the high schools, but the colleges.
Thank you, Coach.
On behalf of Adrian College, the times that you guys have been up there to help us, it's wonderful. I think you are to be congratulated for everything you do.
Coach, that means so much coming from a man of your stature in coaching, and it's been an honor to have you here. The work you're doing with young men at the college level and making them successful professionals. and your work at Hospice. I think that's so remarkable, and hopefully that will inspire others to get involved in their community and doing something that they can give back. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right.
It's good. It's a pleasure.
Tom Cole, the coach, for Steve Taylor's Community Connection.